There we go. Without any further ado, as John says, let's get this party started. Hi, everybody.
Hey, how's everybody doing?
Yeah, tonight, Mary and I have the pleasure, this distinct pleasure, of welcoming Jon and Jenna onto the show. I'll introduce them in a minute. But for those of you who might have missed last week's show, just to give you an idea of what we're doing. In the absence of meetups, Mary and I had decided that we needed to do something else with our channel in the interim. So what we've been doing is running a series of interviews, but it's basically just informal hangouts with our guests of all people who do live streams. Because what we always say is that in short of actual face-to-face meetups, a live stream is pretty much a meetup because you have that interactive chat, and we incorporate that live stream concept being a meetup quite well during meetups. One of my favorite things to do during each of the meetups is to have a live stream right on the grounds of the meetup, so that the people who didn't have the opportunity to get there kind of feel like they're attending the meetup by actually being live, interacting with the people at the meetup, and kind of getting a feel for being there. So again, I just wanted to welcome Jon and Jenna to our show. I mean, they certainly hold a special place in my heart. They were like my really first friends in the community. Jon, I'll go in a little detail later, but I want to bring them up before I really bend everyone's ear on this. But Jon was like the first channel that I really watched, and I learned a lot. I was informed, and I was educated. I was entertained, and it turned into like a really nice friendship that we've developed. We'll talk more about that. But I just want to give Jon and Jenna an opportunity to introduce themselves, tell everyone a little bit about for the 2 or 3 people that might not be aware of them.
Barely 2 or 3, maybe.
Maybe that.
Well, we've been doing reselling I've been doing reselling since 2002. For most of that time, from 2002 to about 2018, actually 2019, was doing it part-time. So I've sold anything from a lot of electronics during that time, but I've sold anything from pool tables to diamonds, like loose diamonds, to stun guns, to toilet seats. Now we sell a lot of different things, but we decided when we became full time in 2019 that at some point we're going to do this channel. We waited about a year of being full time to determine if something we still wanted to do, and so we just launched the channel in 2020, and we've been kind of going strong ever since. I don't think there's been a week that's passed that I've skipped doing a video. It's just, I don't know how many videos I have, but it's just part of our process now. It's part of what we do. It's just as we the idea of doing videos, and we incorporated lives. That's really become part of our routine now. It's like building a community, meeting folks like Mike and Archie and Bearded Picker and Josh Galt and all those people, and many, many more that I haven't mentioned. So it's very rewarding, just being able, the community side of things. It's been very rewarding. I met so many people that have not only made YouTube more enjoyable, but it's actually enhanced our reselling business. I think, and I coined this term a long time ago, if you're a seller and you're on eBay Island, and you don't interact with your neighbors, don't sell, your family members don't sell, your close friends don't sell, YouTube is the closest thing you're going to get to other people doing what you do, and it kind of breaks the monotony of it all. And it's to meet folks like Mike and Archie and all the others. It really makes the whole thing less mundane, I think. What do you want to say?
Well, I was just thinking, it's not just been the fact that we're doing YouTube and we're reselling. It's, our families and our friends, they don't understand our business. And when you have a community that understands what you're going through on a daily basis, it can really push your business and your motivation to go a lot further than just being stuck on eBay Island. It can be a very lonely place. And so to be able to talk to other people and throw ideas around and suggestions and, hey, I'm really messed up with this order. What do you think I should do? It really helps to know that you're not alone. And that's the most important thing for us, is that we may work in our own business and do our own thing here at home, but yet we have a community that we can go ahead and tell them our problems and complain and also celebrate all the successes at the same time. So.
And I know, Jon, some of your videos are even, you're kind of telling about your experiences, but you're also looking for feedback a lot. And that, that feeds in the whole community aspect.
Yeah. Yeah. Cause a lot of my videos are like how to do this and how to do that, but it's really how I do it. It's not there's times where I think I have the answer and this is how I'm doing it, but I may have it totally wrong. And I'm not against having, advice, or, maybe you're selling the same kind of thing and you tried it that way, it's not working. Maybe this is better. And I've learned so much from people just sharing my experience and people sharing their experience. And I'm like, you know what, maybe I'll try it that way. Where if I was on eBay Island, I'd still be doing the same old thing. So, yeah.
So, now, Jenna, were you always involved, or did you kind of grow into it?
Since when we lost our jobs, we kind of were. When you go from having a job I was there at the railroad for 15 years. He was there for 26. So when you have this, you got a regular paycheck, great medical care, your household, you've got, I managed the house and the kids and the animals and all the things. But then when you take out that full-time job, you kind of don't know what you're doing. Like it feels very wrong to not be getting up every day, doing something productive and going. You're left with a question of, what is my purpose? What do I do next? And so the many conversations we had, was basically, are we going to do this together, or am I going to go out and get a job? And do I want to work for somebody else? Absolutely not. After the management that I've had to work with, no way. I would rather put up with this guy every day, 24 hours, 365, any day, versus the management that we had to put up with.
You make it sound like it's such a bad thing to work
He's
with.
not that bad, right? He's not that bad.
I do make jokes and say little jabs here and there, but he does let me he does let me have my days so there are some days where I don't feel good and I have to not do anything. There are days where I can only work maybe 15 minutes and then I'm like, oh, okay, my arms are hurting, everything's going wrong. So it works out to where, he knows that I have limits, strength wise. And when it comes down to certain things, I don't know about, motors, or when you have to take apart a vacuum and put it back together again, or I don't know any of that. And I don't want to learn. I'm not in the age range of being all that great at learning new things. Managing to keep up with, social media and my family and how to work a phone. That's pretty much the gist of it. I mean, so it works out to where, in the beginning I was really involved in the beginning because we were buying pallets and, it was exciting. We were going to Ross and buying these things to resell. And at first it was really fun and cool. And then I got to be where I'm like, what I need more of a structured day. I need to know what I'm doing, as far as hour by hour, and what's next, what are the procedures, but yet this job is not like that. I get up and I make my coffee, I feed my dogs, I make sure, the air conditioner's set at the right thing. I do all these things, making sure that the laundry's started, or, just all the things. So being in a routine for me is the best way for me to keep going. There's things that I won't do for the business, which anybody that listens to our channel knows I will not list. I hate listing. It's my pet. I can't even call it a pet peeve. I just do not like it. I hate it. I did for a long time do a lot of the listing, but I don't feel confident in it. And so therefore I don't want to do that. So that's where he is.
And she also doesn't solo live. We're trying to get her to
I do not solo live. No,
but she just had her first diatribe though. So
okay.
There you go.
Biscuit, there's diatribe.
I just want to interrupt you nice people for a moment. I don't want to get too far behind in the chat. Let's give the other half of the meetup an opportunity to chime in and just say hello to everyone. All right, so first up, guess who was first? Archie.
Oh, of course it was Archie.
Then we have Kevin Hawthorne. Good evening from Lakewood, Florida. Again, I feel like we're doing one of the Flippin Aint Easy lives here tonight. Chris Nutter came in third.
There he is.
Hi,
and then Gail Carlson's here. I don't have the sound. John, could you?
Is it going to work?
Oh, it's not set up. All right. Well, we were thinking of you, Gail. Okay, so let's see now. And also we have CJ Benz Fines, 1/3 of the reseller locker room. And I looked ahead, and the other two members are here as well. We're going to talk about a big announcement coming up about that September meetup. We'll talk about that in a moment. And speaking of Rocky Top, there he is. Hi, Hi Ben. How are you? Let's see. Tina with the Lake Exchange.
Oh, very cool.
She's one of my staunchest followers. I got the opportunity to meet Tina in Omaha this year. Another great thing about the meetups, you kind of catch up with everybody, right?
Yeah.
Yep.
Mm-hmm. So put a face with the name.
Exactly. Who else we got? We have Beard King Picker, Alex, also from the reseller locker room. Thanks for coming in.
Hello.
And then we have Ryan from Galaxy CD Rocks and Flips Reseller Talk podcast. He was our guest last week on the channel, and we talked to him about meetups and all. Yeah, he's got a great podcast, live every week. It's kind of pretty similar to your format, John, in that it's very informative. It's kind of like a talking head show, but like toned down to where we can all understand it. And what he does is he scours the the Ida Steiner and all the other news bites and kind of consolidates them and just presents them to us. And it's not just about eBay. He covers Poshmark, McCarry, and anything that's pertinent to our reselling business.
Yeah.
Nice.
And we also have Doris Hamilton. I was so honored that she came on. Archie's mom.
Oh, hi, Doris.
I had the opportunity to speak with her at length last time I was in Vegas. We had a very nice conversation. We talked about Archie for an hour. All good, by the way. So thanks for coming in, Mom.
Did you get any secrets from her?
I learned a couple of things. I'll talk to you later.
We'll have to talk about that later.
Saying hi to his mom. Let's see. Let's catch up. We got. I think we're pretty much wrapped up. We got one or two more notables coming up.
I see somebody, a big one.
We got the goat. Coming up. I want to get to him, Pete. Hi, Brenda. Thanks for coming in. Keith made it finally. Pitco, how are you? Keith, you weren't first tonight. Sorry to hear. And I was first last week. Talked about that in a minute.
I know.
It's like 1 in the morning. It's like 1 in the morning for Keith, by the way.
Keith is from
I
England.
Oh, wow.
Yeah.
Thanks for coming in. We got Spam Banshee.
Hey.
How are you, Spam? Thanks for coming.
Hi, Spam.
And Primo. Hey, I'm honored. You usually Spam just checks into your show, John, but Primo kicks.
I know he won't come on my show. It's only Spam. Primo refuses to hang out with us.
Nice. They have a great channel as well.
I don't know that she does. She listens to us without him.
Yep, check them out. Yeah. And let's see. Everyone's saying hi to Archie's mom. That was so nice. We have Kristen. How are you? We had an opportunity, Mary and I both, to meet her. That was the first time you had met Kristen, right, Mary?
Yeah. And then I got to be on the podcast with her.
Yeah, that's right. Yeah. Well, I just wanted to break away and just make one little notification. Mary had a very good interview with Ray Nashville Flipper there this week in Reselling podcast, and it was excellent. It was really excellent. So anyone who wants to know a little bit more about Mary without me getting in the mix, check out that interview. It's really good. And another one coming up, right? The After Dark one is going to drop on Sunday. So he does 2 of them. And really, I was so proud of my girl Mary. I mean, she's kind of coming into her own, just like I'm coming into my own as far as this whole YouTube thing. And she's very nervous, but she has a better on-screen presence than I do as well. And I was so happy that after we came back, after we came back from Nashville, that Ray had asked her on his show. I was honored. I was really happy. I wasn't slighted that he didn't ask me. I was really happy that he had asked Mary to come on, and it was really a really good interview. Definitely, I recommend you checking it out.
Yeah.
Well, he's in Dave Ramsey country, so he was familiar. So that was a lot of what that was about.
Yeah, it was a good interview. Yeah, Mary is beaten just to give you a little precursor. Mary beat that, and she was ended up being on Dave Ramsey's show and did the shout out and all of that. And it was pretty cool. Getting back to our chat, we got Anthony Dragged. Fines. How are you, Ant? Summoned by Biscuit Butt. ABC Matt in the house. Hi, Matt. How are you?
Hello, Matt.
Good to see you.
Matt did a Q&A on his channel. He gathered questions on Instagram and did a Q&A. And thanks for using one of my question.
Oh, that's fun.
Mike, you forgot someone.
I'm looking for him. I was trying to. Oh, there he is. I'm very honored. Pete does not really come on everyone's show all the time, so I'm very happy. And I responded. I saw it, and I just wanted to say that we found the goat in the house.
Yeah.
Pete's another, like talking about the networking side of things. Pete's another one where, I would never have met him if it wasn't for YouTube, and watched him as a viewer before I even did my channel. And the fact that he started watching my channel was like, Pete's watching my channel. Oh, okay. And met him in Cincinnati, and I consider him a friend. He's been there. I've been able to ask him questions. He's been on the Profit Playbook podcast with us, and he is every bit of the guy that you see on camera. You can't say that about all YouTubers. I've met many a YouTuber, and there's some that are not the same person in person than they are on camera. And Pete is that guy. So he's as genuine as the guy you see on camera, and that's the thing I love about the guy.
Absolutely, yeah. He was very approachable. Pete made a point to speak to everyone on that boat that night, and John did as well. Cincinnati Picker, who was the other host, as well as Kevin. They were all. That was a great meetup. Really very enjoyable. I hope they do it again. I'm trying to coerce them a little bit into doing it. All of these meetups, it turns out that they're a lot more than meets the eye. We're in the process of helping the Reseller Locker Room have a meetup in September, and we'll talk about that in a moment. But the thing is, it's a lot of work. It's a lot of work and a lot of expense. And some of the meetups have come and gone based on the fact that they can't really financially support it. I mean, one of my favorites, one of the reasons, the way I finally got a chance to meet Jon and Jenna and Archie was by going to the Boss Reseller Remix, and I've gone to that one every year. And unfortunately, we were told that meetup is no longer going to be held anymore because they just couldn't really cut the expenses. Everything is very expensive, unfortunately. So we're gonna try to do whatever we can to encourage more meetups, whether they're small or large, to occur. We'll help out in any way we can. But I'm going to keep an eye on the chat. Mary, you want to just talk a little bit about the details of the Reseller Locker Room meetup that's coming up?
Sure. I don't actually have those notes with me. Actually, I do. It's September 26th to 28th. It's in Greenville, Tennessee. And we've got the Resellers Locker Room podcast created a Facebook group. And so within the Facebook group, I created an event. And so you can go to their group and find the event. And then on the event is a registration form if you'd like to go to the event. And then there's also a sponsorship form if you'd like to sponsor the event. But there a lot of the activities are already showing up in the event. And they also put out a video this morning. So if you go and watch that, they have a lot of what's going on. There's going to be karaoke. There's going to be yard sales. There's going to be food. There's going to be all kinds of stuff. But we're literally like, and it's free. Thanks, Ben. Yeah. We're like 3 days into this, so I know I'm tripping over my words here.
It's okay. The details will all come out eventually.
Yeah, we're fleshing out.
Actually get to Nashville.
Well, we had a Nashville meetup 2 weeks ago, but nobody showed up.
We showed up.
It was only us.
Yeah.
Because we didn't advertise it for you, John. That's what happened.
Yeah, that's exactly why.
We ended up spending 3 hours in someone's backyard.
Oh, stop.
That's what it was.
It was a restaurant that it was an old house that was converted into a restaurant, and they have this big, beautiful house, and then they have a very large backyard where there was kids playing on like toys, and they had like what's the where you throw the sand thing? What is that thing? Cornhole. Yeah, they had tables. It was really a fun. I loved the vibe. He's like, this is weird, and I'm like, that's what they do when you go to Nashville for the first time. You're trying to go to a place that, whether you like country music or not, that's kind of the vibe you're looking for. And it was like nowhere near that. So it's never have AI plan a little side trip, because we had a 5-hour layover on a flight. So we're like, let's see what Nashville's about. And we got to see another side that we never thought. It was fine, but it wasn't what I was a little disappointed. Yeah, it wasn't what you would normally think of as Nashville, but it's okay. It just makes me want to go back there even more.
Yeah, it's a fun town. We had a good time there.
Yeah,
they did a great job. Putting that event together. And actually, it's good that we just kind of came back from that, because all 5 of us, Mary, myself, and the Reseller Locker Room crew, we're all in Nashville, and we're pretty much fashioning the locker room meetup after what we did with Ray. After we, because it was a free event. If you look at the schedule of the two, they're pretty similar. A greet and meet the first night, and some yard sales, flea markets, and this and that, and also we're going to be, working on that as well. In fact, the reason why I wasn't able to jump onto your pop-up live on time, John, was I had gotten a call from Ray. I was on the phone with him, and he's kind of acting as an advisor for us. I asked him for information, help on what, different aspects like sponsorship and things like that, and costs and all. So he gave me a great bit of information that I got to bring back to the group. And, we're just, like I said, this thing came up like two days ago. What happened was Kevin Commonwealth Picker was on the locker room last week, and Ben and Alex had mentioned that they were going to be having their 100th podcast celebration in September. And Kevin says, well, you should do something special for that. And then that's where the idea of the meetup was born. So that was last week. So then 2 nights ago, Ben got a group chat together between Mary, myself, and the locker room guys, and we just came up with this meetup. So it's a thing it's a work in process. So we're going to continue working on it.
Well, let me ask you guys something real quick.
Sure.
Okay, so Boss Reseller Remix is now not happening ever again because of cost overruns and all that.
Right.
But then you have, the folks in Tennessee that can put it on for virtually nothing. So why can't Boss still exist maybe along that type of, I know Vegas is more expensive than Tennessee, but maybe just the way it's been set up and run is not the right way to run it. You still can.
Well, I actually have some information on that. I tell you what conversation I had with Vicky, just to make the distinction. The reason why the Boss event was so expensive, it was a whole different kind of meetup. I mean, it was the Boss Remix was more of a corporate type. If you're used to, like, in the corporate world, going to a conference with speakers and you actually go in your suits and everything, and it's not that it was stuffy like that, but that was more of an educational, where there were like 20, 30 different speakers every, at every Boss event, and it was put together in a high class venue, and a lot of expenses and all. And I guess the day of that formalized instructional type of meetup is maybe a thing of the past, because the cost just overruns prohibit everyone from coming. So they had to bow out. And the writing was on the wall. I spoke to them last year as well, and the attendance was down from the previous year. And the second year was really the best. The third year started nosediving to the point at which it was like, this year they were like 120 people, and they had like 300 people the first year. So as much as it was a labor of love, as all these meetups are. No one ever makes money. You're lucky if you break even on these things, but we do it, as much as it's a lot of work, we do it because we love supporting the community and this and that. So they had to, with much duress, bow out of doing it. But I did speak with Vicky, and they said they're going to take a break for a year, and they're going to come back next year, with a different idea. And like you had said, Jen,
that's good to hear, because when we heard that they were just not doing it anymore, initially I was disappointed, because I was like, man,
we all were, because
of the whole year that we've had, we weren't able to go. And so I was like, okay, well, I want to go next year for sure. And so when you guys, or I don't remember who told us it was no longer, but I was hoping, well, maybe they can do something a little more light. I don't even know what words you would use for just more casual, I guess. Yeah. More of a casual setting, not as more
laid back.
Yeah, laid back. Mm-hmm.
Well, I'm glad you mentioned that, because that is a great segue into my next topic, Jenna. So, Boss, to some extent or some fashion, will return in 2 years, but there is a gap this year. So what do we do when there's a gap? We fill it. So I came up with an idea. They just announced that eBay Open will be in Las Vegas this year. It will be August 12th, 13th, and 14th, I believe. So Jon is going. I'm going. I ordered my tickets last night. We're all set to go. So while I am in Vegas, and when I go to Vegas, Archie is gracious enough to put me up for a couple of weeks, and I will be doing that. So we are going to have a meetup the day after eBay Open. Now, that's all I know about it right now, is that we picked a date. I figured let's work off the heels of the eBay Open. The day after the eBay Open, will be the target date for the meetup. So anyone who's in Vegas for the Open, wants to stay over another day, have the opportunity to come and hang out with us for a meetup. Now, as far as the details, I don't know. I had done a little meetup last October in Vegas, and basically all it was about 15 of us getting together at a restaurant and hanging out for the night, and that was great. That was a lot of fun.
Yeah.
It's going to be at least that. It'll be at least that. I don't know, we'll try to, maybe attach some other events to it. We'll see. If I know me, we'll come up with something that'll be decent. And again, it's not going to be a for-cost meetup. It'll be something free, so it'll be kind of informal, and we'll give everybody an opportunity to do things. Now, I don't think garage sales are in the cards for August, but we can go to like some thrift stores and figure out some other stuff to do.
Somewhere where there's air conditioning, because Lord knows it gets way too hot here.
So there'll be more details to follow. Like I said, I have no idea what it's going to be, other than the fact that I know I will be in Vegas in August. Take advantage of that opportunity to get together with some of my old friends or my new friends, because I do have a great network of people, friends in Vegas. That's why I always make it a point to get there at least once a year, whether there's a reason for it or not.
I would like to get to Vegas sometime. I mean, even though I'm not on the eBay platform, I'm on different platforms. I mean, you can still go even if you don't go to actually go to eBay.
Oh, yeah,
My uncle is in Pahrump, and I mean, I imagine you guys know where Pahrump is, right? I think it's like an hour from Vegas. So I really wanted to go and see him. So who knows? I might just get in my car and roll on out there, for the
and it's a beautiful drive.
Take the train. Well, you can't take the train to
Can't
Vegas.
take the train.
Okay.
Oh, there's no train.
We're gonna give Mary an all expense paid trip to Vegas.
Yes.
Based on all the great proceeds.
Hard work.
No, she deserves it. Believe me, I'll pay out of pocket. She's just too humble to accept. I know that, but I would love to invite Mary to come to any of the meetups on my expense. I just want to stop for a moment and acknowledge. For those of you who don't know Garage Sale Nation, you might not recognize that name, but that is Kevin Commonwealth Picker's third channel, and he's saying that 3 of his favorite people are here, and you too, John.
I'm glad I'm partially on that list.
He's only kidding.
Nice to see you, Kevin.
You're the last one. Hello, Kevin. Oh.
And Woody also checked in. I didn't get a chance to acknowledge him. Another good friend of mine, reselling with Woody, is in the house. So I'll just keep on talking. I'm going to it's tough. I'm learning how to handle these lives, in that you have to be attentive to your guests, but at the same time, this is really for the for the participants in the chat, and I don't want to. I don't like to neglect anyone. What I do after these live streams, I go and watch them all a little bit more carefully, and I say, oh darn, I missed this one. I feel terrible. I want to try to make sure that I don't miss it. If anyone I didn't mention, I've not mentioned for a while, speak up again in the chat. Certainly I don't want to miss you.
Yeah.
How many people are going to the Open? How many people are going to eBay Open?
Show of hands.
Show of hands.
And I'm wondering. I wonder though how many tickets are being offered. I went and got my ticket like that.
I think 1,500. I think I was told 1,500.
Really?
And that's a short list. I mean, that was recommended by someone. I don't remember who, to say that they these things, believe it or not, close out. Sell out pretty quickly. So if you are interested, even with that large number of tickets available, it's a big scale event. It's going to be at the Venetian on the Strip, and they got all the bells and whistles. I mean, one thing about eBay, they got the deep pockets to really pull off a nice event. But it is really it's really not a meetup. I mean, we make a meetup out of it, but it's more really geared towards just following eBay's policies and pointing out it's a conference. It really is a conference. But the nice thing about it is you're gonna run into people that that happen to be on eBay. All the speakers are eBay employees, and I've never been to one. Katie and Vicky tell me that they're pretty good. You do learn some stuff, so I'm curious to see what I've experienced. But basically, I'm looking to be able to hang out and network with everyone that I meet there.
Yeah, so I'm not going to Open. He's going to go, and then I'll be here doing the work.
Oh, well, that makes it nice that you can
somebody's got to do it.
How how long were you guys on YouTube before you decided to start doing your live shows? And what made you want to do them twice a week? That's a big commitment.
Well, we were live. We did the channel for a good year and a half, and at some point, I think it was a discussion I had with Archie, and he's like, "Yeah, you should try going live." And I'm like, "I don't know." And I decided, well, let's give it a try. And the first few lives, I mean, I don't know, I was a damn mess. I don't know. It's a different. You can't edit anything. It's just all
not
raw.
great, right? They're not great.
I guess I'm still, nothing's changed, but
not true.
But
well, he's when he's by himself on a live, he's very stiff and professional.
Yeah.
When I'm around, I kind of loosen him up
a little bit, yeah,
and get him to be more of himself, because he is very funny, and he can make some of the things that come out of his mouth just crack me up sometimes.
I can
bring back my professional side.
Yes.
I can attest to that. I mean, I got the impression of Jon being pretty much, very, businesslike and everything else, which he is. He conducts himself definitely appropriately for the, for his show. But I was pleasantly surprised when I did really kind of get to know him. Jon is a funny guy. He is really. I tell you, I just love hanging out with him. We laugh and we laugh and we laugh, and he's not. He talked about people not being the same people that they are on camera as they are in person. Not in a bad way. There's a whole other level of Jon's personality that the people who just watch him on the lives are not privy to, and is really.
Here's what I blame it on, though. I for years I worked in the customer service department. I think many of you guys know my story. And that was my life. I had to be professional. I had to, say things in a certain way. And I think that's kind of carried over to going on. Because I got to tell you, if you say the same thing 3 different ways, you're going to piss off 4 different people on YouTube. And I found that out. I mean, many times I open up around her, and then someone will say something like, "You shouldn't have said it this way." I'm like, okay, I'm just being myself, but okay.
Yeah.
So.
Yeah. It took a while for him to really just kind of get comfortable and open up and just be naturally himself. Because he is naturally professional, but he's also can be very funny and can be very, he says some of the most off the wall things I've ever heard sometimes, but that's who he is, and that's who he always has been. But it takes, I think, someone to give him the I don't want to say permission, but it's like, okay, once I'm sitting here, he knows that he can take the professionalism down just a notch, because he can be very serious and stiff. So how, that's not what I meant.
Wow.
That's not our show.
This is the after dark portion.
Yeah, we're really getting after dark now.
Just want to welcome my friend Mike, Death Pile Picker.
Hello, Mike.
This is my bestie, Mike.
Good to see you. Watch their show today. Finish it up. They have a great. I can go on and just support, and I really should, everyone's channel, because I know he does. Check out the Reseller Leftovers. Every Wednesday they drop a pre-recorded show. A lot of fun. We got so many. We're so lucky that we have so many entertaining podcasts. I mean, I've been watching, YouTube content for the education. Like I said, I started off with Jon's channel and with Pete's channel, Craigslist Hunter, and Dominic, the Primetime Treasure Hunter, and Shed Flips. And at that point, it was basically just for learning how to, resell, because I knew nothing about it. And then I literally hours and hours, probably thousands of hours I've logged in YouTube content, and initially just for the information content. Now there's always still things to learn, but I've got a pretty broad base of information based on everything that I've watched. Now I kind of hang out just for the community, for the entertainment. Keeps me company. Shows like John's, shows like We Saw a Locker Room, the Leftovers, Ken's show, Ken versus 10, makes me laugh all the time. It keeps me entertained and informed, and that's why we're very lucky to have this, for us, and it's just all free. You turn on. I've not watched TV, I don't think, in the last 5 years, but I'm on the tube 12 hours a day. Right? Watching a YouTube show.
Yeah, it's so funny how it's evolved. YouTube has evolved into the main television for most resellers. Like, I mean, I watch TV at night, but it's usually, a lot of times it's YouTube, and it's different. I am a crime and trials and things like, I love to watch that kind of stuff. So I will watch those versus watching, Netflix or anything else. I mean, we have it, but we don't really watch a lot of it.
We haven't had cable TV in like 6-7 years.
It's probably been more than that, like 8 years.
Yeah, we don't pay for
that.
Yeah,
it's useless to have, because we find all of our community on YouTube. So
sure.
Yeah, that is nice, and it's all free. It's all free to watch, and you support each other. What made you guys start doing them twice a week?
I don't know.
I don't know. I thought that after a while, it's like, okay, it went well. Let's have them at the beginning of the week and the end of the week, and I guess it's.
I think it was Monday was supposed to be like a motivational Monday thing, and then Friday, I don't even know what that was going to be.
Think of some words.
I don't even know. To be honest, I have no idea why we do two, but we do, and it's part of our life now and our part of our routine. I mean, we literally plan like our trips around it, and making sure that somebody is home to do a live, even though I will not do one by myself.
You've done two of them.
I've done one. One.
Beard was with you.
Oh, Beard. Yes, I did do one with Beard. Yeah. So yeah, I'm not. I can't do it by myself. I'm not. I don't. I'll just keep rambling about nothing.
Wasn't that Seinfeld, the show about nothing?
That would be me.
I'm usually team replay. I must confess, but I am.
There's a lot of viewers that watch. I mean,
yeah.
If you consider, I think we get about 150 people. But they say usually when the live's done, it'll show like I had 250 views on average.
Yeah.
So people, go in and out, and then usually by the next day, that video will be at like 1,000 views. It's like, okay, depending on the topic. So most people actually watch after the fact.
Yeah, which I mean is understandable. There's a lot of people that I'm not able to catch live. So I'll go back and I'm part of the rewatch crew on some channels too. Because like in the mornings, especially because Josh Galt, he was kind of doing lives, and then he wasn't, and then it kind of back and forth, and then now everybody's saying, oh yeah, he's going every day at 12 o'clock noon, and I'm like, I didn't even know. Like, I'm usually still shipping at that hour, So I'm like, I didn't even know. So now I know, and now everybody in his chat will come on and say, hey, tell Jenna Josh is live. I'm like, okay.
I actually was watching live. I think that was Monday when you said you didn't realize Josh had been going live, and John was like, yeah, he's been going live. Yeah, I actually was watching live that day, but I was listening, so I wasn't hanging out with that, but yeah, I was watching live that day.
Yeah, and like with Primo and Spam, they're always on when I'm shipping, so I can watch and listen, but I can't like comment or say hey and all that because I'm trying to get the shipping done. And so but I'm usually there just not talking. So
have you met a lot of people in person that show up in your chat, like they've shown up in your chat for years, and it's like you finally get to meet them?
A few,
a couple,
yeah.
I mean, obviously we have Mike, Katie and Vicky, Archie.
I don't think Katie and Vicky ever watched our show, but Archie, just there's a few.
There's been, I mean, we've met Pete, Kevin, like just from going to meetups though, and had we not had this community, we would not have been able to meet them, not knowing when the meetups are and what they entail. So
check out John's outro. Everyone's in the outro, right? If you look closely, if you look at the outro, you'll see Pete on there. You see myself and Archie. Jimmy Old School Flips is in there. Carrie and Dawn, Lady Arbitrage are in there, and Meg, right? Lilac Cellar is in there. We had a nice. John had a meetup. John had a meetup. What was it? I think during the Trash Vegas meetup.
When Meg was there.
Well, yeah, we had a little lunch about.
A little lunch. That's that's
there's nothing to write off about. But it's just a matter of, even if we can get a handful of people to just have lunch.
I've wrestled with the whole meetup thing. I've watched other channels do it. And I'm like, do people really want to just meet up? I mean, randomly travel to like meet up with some guy who sells out of his garage. That's kind of the way I look at it. That's why I've not really ever, said, hey guys, look at me. I'm going to have a meetup. I'm so important. You guys should travel out here. So, that's the reason I haven't had one.
No, people will come. I tell you, I have thoughts about that, John. First of all, basically the essence of the meetup is just getting together with people. I mean, that's the common denominator of all the meetups, and and if you ask 100 people, what was your idea, what was your feelings about that such and such meetup, it was all about the networking and meeting the people. So it's really not important what events are wrapped up in that aspect of it, just doing that. So like I said, I'm going to be in Vegas in August, so I'm going to use that as an excuse to have a meetup. And again, you're right. Now, I'm going to have a random meetup in the middle of the country and say, come and see me. For the meetup, people aren't going to do that. But we try to wrap it around other events, things that are happening, in the community, like the eBay Open's a prime opportunity to get a meetup, off the ground. However it turns out. But like I said, the main thing is just that we get together. It's the most my most important part, and pretty much everyone else's.
Absolutely.
So Alex is saying, what are you saying? What I'm trying to say is that I've just never been. There's some channels out there. I don't think any of them are here. That it's like it's kind of an ego thing. I just can't see myself being that. That's not who I am. So I just never thought of, let's do a meetup. And really, it's like how many people would show up if I did one. And so I've never done one.
Yeah. I mean, we've gone to yard sales and people would come up to us and say hi and introduce themselves. And we're like, oh my God. Like, so weird.
That's cool. I like that.
I love it. I do love it. But it was the first time it happened, I was really taken aback because I was like, oh my God. Like, it kind of brings the fact that you're on the internet to life. So it's always nice to meet people. I thoroughly enjoy it, getting to talk to people about their businesses. And then it kind of feeds into, oh, how's your mom and how are the kids? And that's where my interest peaks, and eBay, he could talk eBay all day long. And I'm just like, hey, you got a new cat or a new dog? Like, how are the kids doing?
Yeah.
You know,
I do think that the organizer doesn't consider it like I understand what you're saying for sure, John, but I think the organizer just considers it kind of a central location. I mean, you know, Mike and I are helping the resellers locker room with this event, and I 100% do not think, oh, who wants to come and see me?
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah. Not a world about no.
Nobody knows who I am.
We're yeah, we're like, we're just an everyday normal people living in a cul-de-sac, you know, in a hot ass Vegas. We're not anybody important. We're just the regular average people. We just happen to know a thing or two about eBay.
Yeah.
Oh yeah, yeah, absolutely. Yeah, I think some people just put together a central location to have it. You know what I mean? Just here's where we're going to gather. Here's somewhere everybody can come.
Yeah.
So yeah, I think that's
have some fun. You know, that's talk shop or not, and it's just a good time. It's a real good time. It's like going out and, you know, getting together and on a Friday night with some friends, you know, because a lot of us don't have friends anymore that are, you know, because we are so isolated within our businesses that our friends are living their own lives and in other cities and states, and we don't get to do that with them. So doing what we do, we can take a Wednesday and go have lunch with, you know, some people and have a good time.
And yeah, that is important. I know, I feel like I talk to my friends in reselling way more than my friends here in town. I got together with a couple of my girls the other night, and it's like we hadn't even texted for, I don't know, a month or two. It was just like, we should get together so we don't forget what we look like, you know?
Right. Yeah. It's like, you know, I've got friends that I could, you know, they come out to Vegas and visit it for a weekend, and we go out to dinner and we have a good time, and it's like no time has ever lapsed. But in reality, we're spending that entire night talking about the whole year, about what our kids have done, what we have done, because we don't get together as often as we'd like. So, so it's nice to be able to just go ahead, Mike.
Yeah, no, I hate to interrupt. I just wanted to break in for a second, trying to be polite to everyone. Just want to acknowledge Tree Cat. They've been making some comments. Tree Cat will be one of our sponsors. They were cross listening platform. So we've had such a great outpouring of sponsorship. I was surprised. I know how cooperative this community can be, and I was tasked with trying to reach out to get sponsors, because I pretty much know a lot of people, and very happy with the success that we've gotten. I called Faith and Paul, who I've met many times, who own my reseller Genie, and asked if they would be willing to sponsor the reseller locker rooms meetup, and they were happy to do it. They're even going to probably be attending, and then so that I was happy with that. We just reached out to Tree Cat that they're going to be sponsors. I had called Ray, the Nashville picker, not even for a sponsorship, because he's really not a product. He's really a reseller like us, strictly for some advice, because he did that. He did a great job at the Nashville meetup. I said, right, you know, Ray, I'd like you to be an advisor, help us out with, you know, the nuts and bolts of putting together a meetup, which he did. But while I had him on the line, he says, you know what, we're gonna be a sponsor as well, an anchor sponsor. He said, put me down for 2 sponsorships. I said, Ray, that's not why I called you for. I felt bad, but he was just, no, we want to support the community, like just what it's all about. So the Nashville Flippers and This Week in Reselling will be 2 of the sponsors at the anchor level.
Exciting!
So we're doing good. We're doing good with that. It's really coming along. You know, that's the whole thing. That's why you know, I'm so enthusiastic about everything I do involving the community, because I always have my reservations that this person's not going to want to do this. This person's not going to want to help me out. There's never been a time when I didn't reach out to someone, and not only were they willing to help, but they were like really enthusiastic about helping. Yeah. So it's really, it really makes my job, much easier because, without fail, everyone is so supportive in this community.
Yeah.
Pretty cool.
I love that.
Oh, yeah.
Oh, and just one more acknowledgement, Cape Cod Ken. I went out to Boston to Katie and to Vicky and Trish's meetup. They did a 10 city whirlwind tour across the country, and Trish, Glenn, and Vicky rented this box truck from U-Haul, and they carted a whole bunch of merchandise across the country, and they stopped at 10 different spots along the way. So I drove up to Boston for the first one, one of the first of the meetups, and I met Ken. I sat next to him at dinner, and we got friendly, and we just met that one day, and now we're going to meet up together in Vegas at the eBay Open. So I have another friend to look forward, new friend to look forward to meet. That's how it works. It's that simple, and I'm sure a great friendship will develop as a result of it. So thanks for coming in, Ken.
Aww.
So back to our on-screen activities. Well, I interrupt. I'm sorry.
Oh no, you're fine. You're the host. We have to remember that.
Yeah.
You're in charge.
I don't talk nearly as much when I'm a guest on someone's show.
Yeah.
Well, that's why we want you to talk. I don't want to do all of the talking.
Well, there is something I always wanted to tell you guys. I'm actually a Raiders fan also. I have been since Chucky's first go around. So 25 years ago.
2001. Yeah.
I always see your stuff in the background. It's like now, especially in the off season. I mean, I can't tell you who any of the players already at this point. No, but I cheer for them.
Yeah.
Yeah, there's not many left.
Right. Yeah. During the off season, I have no idea what's going on, but I did watch the draft. But well, no,
it'll be a little bit better this year. So
what was that?
I think we'll be a little bit better this year. So finally got a running back. So
that'd be nice. Yeah, I have to count on the red zone for most of my coverage because living out here in Ohio, we don't get much.
Well, gotta be careful because Archie's a KC fan. He's a Chiefs fan, so we can't really talk about it in his presence. He gets triggered. So
yeah, he's already talking about his Raider hater towel.
Yeah, he gets upset.
That's right. I do remember that, Archie. and I'm a Texans fan too because I love CJ Stroud. And Archie was yelling at us all for whining about.
Say hi to Joe from I Flip That just dropped in. Another great, very very unique show that he and his wife Nicole have. It's called the Reseller Showdown. I came across this just recently, and it's such a riot. It's a game show that's kind of a parody of Wheel of Fortune and Jeopardy and all, and really clever the way they do it. And they put on a live version of it at Nashville. So it was like,
really I did. Cool. I saw that on really your video. Cool.
And they've done I've done a number of them. So I went back and I started watching them. I mean, Archie was on. I think Archie was like one of the first contestants, and just really cute. Really a lot of fun. And you get a chance to see all of the resellers. Flub and Mystic Questions and everything. Just a lot of fun. So Joe, thanks for coming by. I got a chance to meet them in Nashville for the first time.
How fun!
Yeah, but I think that starting next year, we really got to focus on trying to go to more of these events.
Yeah, this year's just been a little off kilter. Just because I don't know if some people may not know. My son joined the Army. And so he's been in basic training, and things were not going very good because he got hurt. And so it kind of we were all set up, we were going to go to the graduation, and at the time he was in South Carolina, and we're like, okay, we're going to go to that. So therefore we can't go to Boss. We have to leave our funds for vacationing need to go to that. And then we find out that he's getting recycled, which means he has to do the whole program again. And then all of a sudden he completed the forge and he pushed himself so hard that they did let him graduate. And so that we only had how many days? I think we had 5 days to plan.
That's about a week.
Yeah. To plan the whole trip to go to South Carolina and figure that all out. And so it's just been between all of the things that have been going on in his life have really affected me mostly, and therefore in turn affect him. And so it's just been one thing after another. And then I had to go to California to take care of my sister. She had a surgery and it didn't go, she wasn't healing as we expected. So it just a culmination of a lot of things have made it so we haven't been able to go anywhere together anyway. And so hopefully we can get our stuff together and just really hold on.
Well, it's one of those things where, it's just a lot of people say, oh, use this as an excuse, but it's never been an excuse. It's just, we have two older dogs that really aren't socialized very well. Don't want to take them to like a local, like a pet hotel, because I don't know how well they do. So my son, though, this last trip we took to the East Coast for 5 or 6 days we're gone. My son has had them before, and so he's fine with having them at their house. So that may be what we do next time, So being that eBay Open was coming to Vegas, I said, in fact, the video that I dropped that very day when they announced that they're opening the ticket sales for eBay Open, I said, look, I ain't paying $500 to go to this event. Not even if they offered concierge, it's not that big of a deal. But $295 was like $5, like right under the line. I don't think I spent anything more than $300 to go. So that's just me being a cheapskate, I guess. But I figure, I don't want to feel like, August 15th. I wish I would have pulled the trigger and went. I think sometimes it's, you go to these events and you meet people, and by meeting people, that one person could make an impact maybe on your business. You might meet a friend, you may not, that opportunity, you may think it's not worth $295, but you find out like, wow, there's no price you could have put on it. So,
you both made a point that I want to address a little bit. And I don't want people to get the wrong idea. Now, I'm like, rah, meet. I've been to like every meetup, and, I'm encouraging everyone to go to every meetup. But let's be realistic about it. I mean, just to be able to fly out across the country and to put yourself in a hotel, and incur those expenses can be limiting. So I'm not suggesting that everyone drop everything and go to every meetup, although it might sound like that, because I always try to encourage, especially my group of friends, to come to every meetup to keep me company. But it's not about that. I mean, it's like I said, you really don't even have to go to a meetup. I mean, these little lives are a meetup, just even the pre-records where you can just interact with people in the chat. And that's how I got to know Mary. I know Mary very well before I actually laid eyes on her when I met her in Crossville, because we had both, had a history of being very active in all the chats. So we would cross paths all the time and interact, and we knew of each other. So it doesn't, you don't really have to go across country to do a meetup. If something happens in your neck of the woods, and that's why we try to place meetups in all around the country. Like, we're going to try to set up something in St. Louis coming up in the next year for people in that area. So if a meetup occurs kind of close to you, maybe, most people drive to the meetups, I mean, and it really makes sense, because if you're going to do some picking, you have your car, then you drive to the meetups. If it's 2 or 3, 4 hours away, it's not that hard to do, rather than, I mean, I wouldn't drive cross country like Vicky and Trish did, but that was for a different purpose. They carried like 3,000 item inventory of stock across the country. They had to. But you can just do a meetup, just an informal one. I mean, eBay, I always push and make the point that eBay has a facility within their platform. It's called sellerevents.ebay.com. You can go on there. You can set up your own local meetup group, and there were like hundreds of them around the country, and you can like go on that site and either start a local chapter, and it can be whatever you want it to be. It can just be a Zoom call once a month. You can maybe have a little meetup and a lunch. You go thrifting with people, whatever you want to do. And you could also use that eBay sellerevents.com. Not if you don't want to set up a meetup, you can just go on it, and that you will see where there are local meetups as well. So it's not the meetups like have to drive and go through all the expense of getting there. If you can't do that, it doesn't mean that you're exempt from taking advantage of a meetup. You could just, what I do is like locally here, there'll be like 4 or 5 people that I run into constantly on the garage sale trail. I get friendly with them. We have our little meetups. We meet every Saturday and Sunday out at garage sales and estate sales. But I made the point of taking their names down and have like a little group of people that I can get together with or bounce ideas off of, or if I come across some inventory that's not my niche but it's theirs, I throw it their way and vice versa. And that's really how the community works. Many ways to do it.
Absolutely.
But I gotta say, as far as traveling to a meetup by plane, I think I'm good for at least a good year or two. I've been traumatized, so.
Oh, yikes.
Yeah. I think, as far as a plane right now, I think we're still in the shock phase of we can't believe what happened to us. So I think local meetups going to be it for right now.
For those of you who don't know our story, we were thrown out of the airport on a connecting flight. Let me just put it that way. The airport totally screwed us up, misconnected us, sent us through Chicago Midway Airport, which we weren't supposed to be going to, but they sent us that way. Our bags made it to our destination in Charlotte, but apparently we were put through the ringer and given. The guy didn't want to deal with me, and of course, most people have been upset, pissed off, cussing, screaming, and that wasn't me. Yet I found that this guy, who the manager of this airport, at least from the airline, did not want to talk to me, and made it very, very clear. And Miss Deaf Lady here said one choice word, and the guy threw us out of the airport and canceled our trip. And so we ended up flying back. We got our tickets reinstated and all that stuff, but it was absolutely out of line, unnecessary, and it was a traumatic experience.
Yeah. I can say we probably will not fly Southwest ever again. And that's the least of it. I mean, what we had to go through, he's got lasting repercussions.
Well, I don't know if it's tied to that or not, but
but it could be.
Yeah. Dealing with, we actually flew all day, and then that flight misconnected. So we're like, how the hell are we going to get to Tyler's graduation now in time for the ceremonies? Well, we missed one of the days. I said, well, we're not traveling by plane anymore, being that they've canceled our flight. So let's get a rental car. We drove 12 hours from Chicago to Charlotte. And that was quite taxed. 36 hours, no sleep, driving, it's like, so it wasn't a very good experience. That's for sure.
Yeah. Yeah. So, Las Vegas meetup, we're there.
Yeah.
Now it's going to take a little time for us to mentally prepare ourselves to fly ever again, so the ones for next year, or even to, I would love to go to the one in Greenville. I would really love that, but I don't know if that's going to, I don't know how that's going to work yet.
Yeah, that'd be a trek for you. It's only about 6.5 hours for me, but that would be a trek for you. Now, I call myself the John Madden of reselling, because I don't want to fly. So what we need to do is just get a bus.
Yeah.
No, I will not drive the bus.
Yeah.
So I have to figure out a driver.
I'm sure one of these big strong men will take on the bus driver job.
Well, what Mary doesn't know is I'm secretly planning a meetup in Ohio, right in her backyard, because we got to get her out of Tennessee meetups.
Yeah.
We got to
Yeah.
have her at least show up in a different state, even if it's her own. And there are a lot of people. There are a lot of people in the Ohio area.
Yes,
you know,
there is.
because that's what we've been trying to do. I've been giving it a lot of thought in where we could have these meetups. And what I'm looking at is like the demographics of like the dispersion of people and how many people that we know of. I mean, I know there's countless number of people in every town, but we don't know them. So if I use like the people that I know from the YouTube world to gauge where we could have maybe at least get a nice little starting point that people would come to the meetup, like in the case of the September meetup, we know of about 12 or 15 people and when I say immediate area, talking about a 3 or 4 hour, 2-hour drive that would come. And the same thing in St. Louis. When I was looking at St. Louis and reaching out to people who knew a little about the St. Louis area, they say, oh, this person is in the area, they would come, and that person would be in the area and they would come. And it's the same thing in Ohio, right? You got a lot of people like, you got, you could count out all the people that are in Ohio. You got Roman, you got Ken, and a lot of other people. So we're going to try to accommodate. If I had my druthers, we'd have a meetup set up in every city in the country. That's a little bit, that's not practical, but we're going to try to do the best I can. Wherever there's an interest, and what Mary and I always say with our channel, anyone who has any inclination to like even do something on any small or large scale, get in touch with us. If we do nothing else in putting you with other people in the same area or giving you a little benefit of the experience that we've culled from doing this a couple of times in the past, we'd gladly do it. And Mary's very good at keeping our social media pages current and active, and it's a place where anyone can go and get information, give information, ask questions, or just get a handle on whatever's happening. And that's really what we do. I mean, basically, we're just if nothing else, we're putting people together with other people and trying to get this community, maintain this community as as solvent as it is.
Yeah, absolutely.
And we, I see you've got Joe's name up there. Joe, if you want to shout out, you messaged me today about a meetup. If you want to shout it out there in the chat, I haven't had a chance to post it yet, but yeah, they're trying to do something too. So, well, not trying to. I mean, there's something going on there too. So, I really appreciate when people do email us and let us know. Chris Nutter's been tagging me, and of course, Alex was, and yeah, it's really helpful when people tell us about meetups that are going on, because I see what I can, but I mean, I occasionally I have to do the legal gig during the day, so I can't.
She does have a day job, unfortunately.
I can't see everything.
What's the day job?
Yeah, what?
What's the day job?
Yeah, because none of these guys want me moving into their basement, I don't think. So I'll probably have to hold on to that.
So you got anything to say about this comment that's on the screen, Mike?
I'm working on it. I am working on it.
Yeah, I didn't want to harass you about it.
Well, I'd love to.
He wanted to, but I told him not to.
Yeah, we're talking about the possibility of me relocating to the Las Vegas area, which I would love nothing more to do. The practicality of it, remains to be seen. I mean, to be honest, like I really haven't had, from when we talked about it, right? When we originally came up with the idea, what was it? When I was in Vegas last, right, John?
Yeah.
I came home and hit the ground running. There's really not been a spare moment where I've had the opportunity to even think about anything, on the horizons. We've just been go, go, go. And we had like a little bit of a hiatus. So, I was in 4 cities in 2 months, right?
Yes.
Vegas, Omaha, Nashville, and then Boston. And then it was like, okay, I think the dust is settled. There's going to be no more meetups for a while. And I was worked under that assumption for about 2 days. and now and now we got the what we're working on. I'm working on with Larry and Mary meet up in St. Louis. We that's tentative, but the meet up in Tennessee is a definite go. The meet up in Vegas, because I'm controlling that, is a definite go. So all of a sudden the dance card is filled up again. So although I am definitely considering moving to Vegas, I don't know when I'm going to have the time to.
I don't know when you're going to have the time. You're so busy.
I got to tell you though, even as compared to California has a lot of opportunities to buy merchandise, but Vegas, just in the condensed
it's a
25, 30-mile radius that it is, the whole valley, there's so many opportunities there's so many yard sales and so many different ways to get merchandise to resell. It's just insane.
Yeah, no doubt. I mean, the first time that I was in Vegas for the first boss and we had gone yard selling, it was like a whole different world. I mean, it was great. Entirely different, different merchandise, a lot of stuff. I mean, sales all over the place. A lot of community sales. John will tell you on his channel, there's these community sales that are off the hook. I mean, 30, 40 people, 30, 40 houses in one sale, and then a block away there's another community sale.
I mean, you can easily have 200 yard sales going on in
the day.
20, 25 mile radius on any given Saturday, and that's just nuts to me.
Yeah.
So
yeah, it's wild. It gets pretty crazy, but obviously during the summer, nobody wants to be out in that heat.
Yeah, that's the only part about Vegas that sucks. Yeah, to be honest with you, the weather. But as far as doing things, you don't have to gamble to enjoy the things that go on in Vegas. I mean, if you like food, there's probably the best restaurants in the world. There's shows every night. You don't have to worry about waiting until the weekend. You can go any day of the week.
Yeah.
So there's just a lot of things to do in Vegas. It's pretty cool.
And a lot of people don't understand that Vegas it's so much more than just the Strip. There is so much more life and experiences outside of the Strip, and things don't cost as much away from the Strip. So it's really nice to be able to see it as, somebody will come to Vegas and they're, gung-ho about the Strip and doing all the things that the Strip has to offer. But then they step away and they go, out on the outskirts, and there still is just great places to eat. Nice places to go and get away from the crowds.
Locals don't go to the Strip.
If
you live out here, unless the only time that we go to the Strip or locals go to the Strip is when people from out of town are like, hey, let's go check out the Strip. And it's okay, I guess we're going to do that. So there's so much out here, which is why we're here, as compared to living in, California and all that. Plus there's no state sale, or there's no state income tax. So that also is a plus as well. Hey, Mike, Chris had a question. I think he's wanting to know, where do you find on eBay to see the live events in your area? Do you know?
The live, the seller events?
Yeah.
It's sellerevents.ebay.com. I believe that's correct. Let me just make sure.
That's what he was wondering.
And while Mike's finding that, you scroll all the way to the bottom of the home page, and you can see where there's a link for the community event, eBay community, and then that takes you to community events, because a lot of the things I post I get right off there.
Yeah.
It's sellerevents.ebay.com. Just plug that into a search engine.
Okay.
And it'll spill out. Then you just search on, your city or area code, zip code, and then they'll give you all of the established meetups in the area. Or if you want to, set one up yourself, they can do it as well. But getting back to the conversation, I definitely agree with what you just said about Vegas being a whole different town. And it's another benefit of meetups. What I found is that I go to a meetup and I really learn a different town that I might have been aware of in a whole different fashion. Before I came to my first boss event, I had been to Las Vegas twice, and I was the typical Las Vegas tourists. You know, I was there for a week or 4 days, and all I did was gamble and go to the shows, and that was it. I didn't know that there was a whole world out there. And Vegas is a pretty cool town, I tell you. And since I've been going to these meetups, I mean, I've learned so much about all the variety in Las Vegas and all of the things that it has to offer that it's not really a gambling destination for me anymore. You know, we play a little bit, but we end up gambling just as a result of just being at a place, you know, dinner, and then like Archie and I would go to this little local place for dinner every night around the corner from his house, and they had like some slot machines built into the bar, and we would play. But other than that, you know, really don't go for gambling anymore. And I'm a little bit of a gambler, but it doesn't have that appeal to me now that I know that there's so much else that Vegas has to offer. And I found that in a lot of different meetup venues as well, because like I says, you know, by going to like Omaha, for example, right? We went to Omaha for the meetup with Corey and Alicia and Teresa, and they knew the town. They really knew the town well, so we were able to like go on all like the little inside spots and specialty thrift stores that you would probably not know about, other than the fact that they were aware of the town. So really cool. You get an opportunity to go on the inner aspects of a city that you might not know about if you were just a regular tourist.
Yeah. Yeah, exactly. It's always nice to meet somebody that is familiar with the city that you're going to, so that you can find those little hidden gems. So, hi, Rosie.
And Durango is a good casino. It's the newest casino in town.
Yeah.
This was news to me. Oh, sorry. I had no idea Mike was thinking about moving in there. I mean, I'm definitely not going to show you my shocked face, though. I mean, he loves it out there. He loves, but now he's not going to be able to say Mike from New York anymore.
Yeah, we can change that.
Well, he'll always be Mike from.
You know how many New York transplants are out here? There's a ton of them.
There's transplants everywhere. Yeah, and I mean, when we decided to move to Vegas, I don't drink, I don't gamble, I don't gamble. Like, if he gives me $20, that's strictly to go, and I will keep the money. I will not. I don't like to gamble.
Sorry, you do.
No, I will take the 20 and gamble it. But if I win, I'm keeping the money. And I want something tangible for my money. So, it's definitely easy to live in a town that is based on, gambling and drinking. It can be done.
Speaking of gambling, Archie asked you, Mike, to ask me if I won the World Series of poker, would I quit reselling? And the answer is yes. I would. Look, I'm not one of these people that are like, oh, this is the job I've always wanted to do, to resell online. But as compared to the alternatives of what's out there, I don't want to work for anyone again. I've done that before. This is the only thing that I can see myself doing. I mean, unless I'm not winning the World Series of poker. I mean, I'm just can't if you're not in the damn tournament anyway. But I kind of look at it as this is kind of a blessing. I wish I'd have known about this years ago. I would have probably. I mean, as far as when you're doing it part time, you realize, okay, this is kind of a cool way to make a little bit of side money, but you don't really, at least in my experience, I wasn't like, wow, this is something I could do full time. I had the same mindset that a lot of people have when, we tell people, what do you do for a living? I'm a reseller. Well, they look at you like, wow. I mean, that's kind of, even though I was part time, I was still like, yeah, this isn't sustainable full time. But when I found a way to make it work, and it took a good couple months when we first started full time to figure out, Ross ain't it, Burlington Coat Factory ain't it, and to buy the stuff that's going to make you money. When we figured that part out, then the light bulb came on, and it's like, wow, why couldn't we have done this years ago? This is really cool, and I have to work for someone else. So
let me ask you a question, John. Just hypothetically, in the event that you came across a windfall, whether it was winning the main event or whatever, would you, and then you didn't need the money, and you said that you would not sell on eBay anymore, would you kind of just dabble in it just as a hobby, or that would be it? What do you think?
I would actually go and find a niche. You know, if I didn't need the money, I would actually be like, okay, let's find things like, you guys know I like golf. So I would probably be that guy that would buy stuff for golf and sell it and just, you know, kind of enjoy what I like doing. And, you know,
It would keep you busy.
Of course.
It would be busy work.
But I wouldn't be so obsessed with, like, okay, why is this happening? So I'm jumping in to figure out, why are my sales like falling off? So I find myself doing that a lot because this is my livelihood. I can't find myself like 2 weeks, 3 weeks with no sales. So I'm always tinkering. But if I had money, you know, like if I was well to do, I'd be like, okay, if I make a sale, I make a sale. It's like
the urgency would be gone, right? It wouldn't be so urgent to do it.
Yeah.
That's what I find. Like I'm in a blessed spot. I mean, like I really do eBay and now YouTube as a hobby. I mean, obviously I'm not going to make any money on YouTube, nor do I want to. And although I've done fairly well for myself on eBay because I did put the time into it, it's not really a requirement. I'm retired. I'm just doing it kind of to occupy my time. So although I'm very analytical about my business and I do the promotions and the sales, if it's not happening, it's not like the end of the world for me. So I never really have to sweat it. So I'm very fortunate in that regard. Whereas a lot of other people, it's their livelihood, to take a whole different approach.
It's not the stream of money that's paying all the bills. Yeah. Right.
That's why I can go and gallivant all around the country and go to all these meetups, because I'm certainly not making any money when I'm going to these meetups. I try to supplement a little bit with some drafts and everything, but sometimes I don't even do that. And it is what it is. It's fine. It's cool.
Yeah.
No, something you said. Oh, go ahead.
Oh no, I was just going to say, sorry, our dogs they're barking in the background. So we were like, what's going on?
Oh yeah. They're pretty good about we can go for hours at a time and they'll be fine. They're created. They're used to it. But for whatever reason, they're like throwing a fit. So that means they have to go to the bathroom. So just let them outside.
I didn't even hear them. So
yeah, you probably won't. They're in the other, all the way in the other side of the house.
Okay. Go ahead, Mike.
Ladies first.
Always. Something you said a few minutes ago made me think of this for some reason. And even the chat as well. As you guys have continued to resell, do you find that it's easier to let your own stuff go? Like that's how I started reselling, was selling my own stuff. And now I used to go to going in the little shops and looking at things and buying things, but now it's like, no, I don't really need all this stuff anymore. Any stuff I buy, it's in the mindset of selling,
Yes.
Do you guys have less trouble getting rid of your own stuff now? And anybody can chime in.
Yeah, the mindset definitely is different. So you're not necessarily just your own stuff, but just even at someone else's house, you're like, wow, I wonder how much I could sell that for. Not that I'm trying to rip people off or steal from their house. What I'm saying is you're in a store. You're like, normally, in the past, you go to the store, you buy what you're there for, and then you leave. But now it's like I see something going, wow, I wonder if that has some value. So you're looking stuff up, right? You just have this mindset of a reseller, and that I've never had before.
Yeah.
Okay, so
I have an easier. Before I held on to everything, I had keepsakes from family and lots of attachment problems in that area. But now I don't really have that. Like I was just telling my sister a couple of weeks ago, I really just want to minimize my house. Like we have every kitchen gadget known to man. And I just would love to be able to purge what we don't use, even just the knickknacks and pictures and things like that. If they don't hold some kind of a significant value, whether that's a hereditary thing that was passed down to you, or if it was, maybe it's a picture of something significant. I just don't have the attachment that I used to. Whereas I have some significant relationships that, you know, like my aunt and my grandmother have passed on, but I made it a point now to where I have like 3 to 5 things that I will hold on to. And they're small things. They're not large. They're not going to take up a lot of room, to know that I can still memorialize them in my own way, but really they're in my heart rather than in a specific item, you know, so it's easier for me to get rid of really anything around the house because of it. So what
I'm just looking at the comments. So I see that Kevin put all you need in the kitchen is a microwave, toaster, and a fork. That's what Rocky Top says anyway. I love to cook, so I have to have my smoker out there.
You would have.
Well, yeah. I mean, the stuff you use every day, but yeah, you guys, I feel the same way. Now, Jenna, you might like the YouTube channel Minimal Mom if you're not familiar with her. Now, she's got younger kids now, and I know we're all we all have grown kids and our grandparents, but yeah, she does have younger kids. They're not super young, but I really like how she's kind of teaches minimalism, because that was me. I kept everything, and the amount of stuff I have gotten rid of since I started reselling stuff, I would have never ever expected to get rid of.
It's
and
pretty nice. That out of it, basically. I was thinking I was doing it because, you know, we're moving from one house to another or whatever. And I'm thinking, man, I would love not to just have this stuff cluttering my space anymore. You know, there are certain things that, yes, I do have like an attachment to, and I'll never get rid of. But then on the flip side, there's things where I think about, you know, if I hold on to it until the day I die, what is my kids going to do with this? They're going to trash it. To be honest, they have no care to hold on to any of it. And so that's why I kind of got into my mindset of hold on to a couple of things that mean something to me while I'm still here on earth. And then, you know, if the kids don't want to hold on to it afterwards, that's okay. You know, there's no pressure for them to have to keep everything.
Yes. Yeah. It does assist them with the burden, basically, of having to get rid of all that. Now, my son will probably keep a few things. Some of these guys in the chat know my son. I joked with my son the other day that the guys tell me about stuff so that I bring so that Joe will come to the event. But I think he might want a few things, but my daughter is what you were saying. I mean, she's literally going to go from the funeral to the Goodwill with my crap. I mean, she does not care. Yeah. She's even less sentimental than he is.
Yeah. I mean, the youngest son, the one that's in the Army, he probably would have the same attachment to the, you know, 3 things that I have. He would find that to be helpful for him. But when it comes to the other kids, they don't have any kind of attachment issues at all. So
it's kind of freeing.
Yeah, exactly. So, you know, it's to each his own, but yeah, it just makes life so much more simpler, the less junk, you know, that you have in the house, which I would love.
Maybe you'll wind up, you know, maybe as you go on, you'll continue to do that. Yeah. Make it
exactly
be more peaceful.
I've gotten to a point where I will, instead of having a bunch of pictures with the picture frames all over the house, I just take the pictures out of the picture frame and I have them in like a picture, like photo, not an album, but like a tote. And I just keep them all in there. And then if I need or want to take out the picture, I do so instead of having all the frames all over. I got rid of so much in our last move as far as picture frames. Ridiculous.
So. That is a good point when you move, because I'm literally moving in a month.
wow.
Yeah, that is a good point. I've only lived here just barely over a year. I didn't expect to be moving again already. So,
Yeah.
but it really helps that, as you get rid of things like, oh, good, I won't have to move that again.
Yes. Yes.
There are digital frames now where there's an app on your phone. Okay. Yeah. Joe got me one of those. My son did.
Yeah, I love those. I have one right in my in front of my kitchen sink there. I have one that's right in front, like I have a little bump out for a window right in front of my kitchen sink. And so I have one sitting there and it rotates. And so when I'm doing dishes, I'm looking at the grandkids and my nieces and nephew, and it's nice to have. Yeah.
That's perfect. Well, thank you guys for weighing in on that, because I was wondering how other people felt about that.
Yeah.
Okay, you boys can talk again.
Let me take the floor for a minute. I'm having this little sidebar conversation with Keith. Let me tell you a little bit more what that's all about, and it ties in with this whole idea of community. One thing that's unique, I think, about Jon and Jenna's live every Monday and Friday. It's not unique that a community is built around it, because a lot of the live streams do that. But one thing that's kind of pretty cool, that he usually like posts his live maybe 2 or 3 hours before going live, and as soon as that post goes live, the community starts building, and we have this little running gag about who's first and who's second, and everything, and it's like a little bit of a friendly competition. But that's what I'm pointing out about how like this community is so cool. It could be even prior to a live stream, you got this lively community, and we all know each other. We all know of each other. I've never met Pitco, not yet, but he's been pushing me to set up an international meetup. So I might be heading to England one day.
I can't drive here. Sorry, Mike.
But the point of it is that, like, we have we all know each other's ins and outs and everything. We know personal things about each other. And it's just like knowing these people. And like there's sometimes like 30, 40, 50 minutes of lively conversation before we even before Jon even turns on the on-air light and starts to address the thing. And poor Jon, is up against it, because in addition to we kid him about his lengthy diatribe, he usually gives a little bit of a 10-minute spiel, and I like it. I mean, I'm one of the people that what he does is he kind of like just discusses the topic of the evening. So he talks about 10 minutes before he actually acknowledges the chat. So now, after like the 3 hours of the conversation building prior to the chat, which is usually about 5 or 6, 8 people, so it really doesn't get that lengthy. But then once he goes live, the other 150 people, show up, and we're communicating, back and forth. Jon's always like 45 minutes behind in the chat.
Well, it's because you have your topic you need to address at the beginning.
You got to start the conversation off. So that's I think I've been told there's a number of people that are like, hey, I tune in to your videos for about like 15 minutes, but then once you get to reading the comments, they just tune out. So I don't know. I don't know how to retain those viewers, but whatever, it is what it is. We're just going to keep doing what works. So
yeah. Well, being selfish, I'll say, look, that's fine if that's what your choice is. I mean, I'm there for like the community, right?
Yeah.
And whether you have like you usually have great topics, but even if it's just like a run of the mill topic, just back and forth communication, it's really a great it's really a great time. I mean, I really look forward to that. Monday and Friday without fail. Religiously show up for those 2 hours. I'm a mod, and I've been with with Jon and Jenna from the start. I was with them before Jenna even came on board, and it's really an integral part of my week, starting it off and ending it off. And it's really great. I'm going to just tell you a quick little story. I don't know if I've ever really told you and Jenna this in person. You might have heard about it, because I've told the story on the channel a number of times. But basically, it's like my first live experience. It was on your show, as you know, right? And it wasn't my greatest performance. I must admit. What happened was, to just to put it into context, it was about like 2 years ago, right? Jon was celebrating his 20,000 subscriber celebration,
It's
right?
It's been a long time.
My channel is like stagnant right now. It's not growing at all. I'm at in 2 years and I only gained 6,000 subs, man.
Well, be that as it may, I think you got a great channel. And anyway, so I had, I decided to contribute I think it was a car, a model, a die-cast model car, right? Right.
Yeah, we're doing a giveaway.
The die
Yeah,
cast.
a giveaway because he was giving other giveaway. So we had we were friendly at that point already. So John said, Mike, why don't you come on the live, to present your giveaway. And to be honest, John, I wanted to say no. In my heart, I wanted to say no. I was scared shitless to be on stage, and it was always a reservation of mine. Up until just really about 8 months ago, I had the same feeling about it. I really didn't want to come on. But because I love you guys, I couldn't say no, obviously. So I said yes under duress. I didn't let you know that I was uncomfortable about it, but I was. And that entire day, I always say, like, you remember back in high school when you had to do the oral book reports? I would literally get sick to my stomach because I didn't want to appear in front of the classroom doing the oral book reports. So it was the exact same thing. So here I was, kind of excited in the one hand because I'm doing my friend John a favor by being on the show and supporting the show as I always want to do. But like I says, man, I'm just really crawling out of my skin. So it was cool in that I had never been on, on anyone's show before, never backstage. So I showed up before the show. I was like, for those of you who've never been on StreamYard or one of the streaming platforms, you go like backstage, you're not on screen, but you're there. So I was like backstage before the show started. So it's cool because I'm part of the show. I'm going to be called on, but I really would have hoped that you would call me on. And I did my 5 minutes at the beginning of the show. You know what happened? You remember what happened? You brought me on like an hour and 45 minutes after the show started. So I was like just crawling out of my skin for that entire hour and 45 minutes backstage.
Wow.
And
No.
and I finally did it. I really haven't watched that show in a while. I should really go back and watch it. I was really stiff and uncomfortable. What a relief after it was done, but it was fun. My first experience on YouTube was on your show.
So I took you out of your comfort zone. So now looking back, aren't you glad you did that?
Oh, absolutely. No. I'm definitely beholden to you and to a bunch of other people, the locker room guys and as well, in like really forcing the issue and pulling me out of my shell and also encouraging me to be on YouTube, which was another thing I definitely didn't want to do because, like, hey, look, if you're a guy who's uncomfortable being on camera, a YouTube content creator is really not in the stars for you, right?
Right.
Yeah.
But I kind of wanted to do it. I just was uncomfortable about doing it. All the people that I surrounded myself with were YouTube content creators, and they were all talking about their shows and their podcasts. And I was learning a little, like it was like I was watching a YouTube video, learning how to like be a content provider because I was in the company of all these people, but I really wasn't wanting to do it. And then it came that time when I was at Crossville and staying with the locker room guys, and similar situation. They did a remote live from Crossville, as part of their coverage of the Highway 127 sale, and they asked me to just come on because everyone in the house were going to come on and just talk for a couple of minutes. What's your experience? Yada yada, and this and that. And they asked me to do it. And again, I really didn't want to do it, but I didn't want to be contrary. I wanted to, pull my weight and come on stage. And I did it under duress. And I told him, I said, look, put me on for 2 minutes, get me the hell off. And when I went on, and that's what really turned me around for the first time. I was so comfortable. It was so cooperative, and they were great guys, and I was having such a great time with them that they put me on. And something like the switch turned from like dark to light, and I was like totally for the first time comfortable on camera. And Ben was being, kind of owing to my request. All right, Mike, that's cool. Thanks for coming on. I said, no, I'm cool. I'm all right.
No, I'll stay longer.
I'll stay longer. And the rest is history. I mean, I just like fell into it, and the next thing you know, I'm comfortable. They had me on their show. I was on Jefferson's Pocket Change show, and I was on a bunch of other shows, Trash to Cash, and a whole bunch of other ones, and I was just really cool with it. And then they said, now you can be a have your own channel, and now I was able to do it. So that's how that was my story. That's what my starting story. But it all started with you.
It all started with us.
But this is an example of kind of what I've been trying to say on my show, to get out of your comfort zone. You know what? It doesn't even have to be reselling, just in life in general. Get out of your comfort zone, even if that's just something you thought you never do it, because you never know if you're going to enjoy it until you actually do it. But it also translates well into reselling, because I think there's a lot of things that hold people back. They want to be comfortable. They don't want to be uncomfortable. And they end up holding their business back because they aren't willing to take the extra steps that others are willing to take.
Yeah.
So, but I do think that's funny, the comment that Archie put out. I thought that was pretty great.
Wow. Archie.
Yeah, that one wins the internet for today.
The after dark portion.
Yeah, exactly.
Yeah.
Mike's gonna have to splice and dice this video. Okay, the before dark portion, the after dark portion.
Exactly.
I should have made it into two live streams. But, yeah, so we're at about an hour 45. So I think the chat is still strong, but I don't ever like to outwear my welcome. So I guess maybe we'll just start thinking about wrapping it up. We'll end up probably going another 15 minutes or so. I promised Mary it was going to be an hour, but knowing that it was you guys, I should have realized
Mary,
that.
never believe him when he says an hour.
No.
Well, you never know how these lives go. I don't know if you heard about my epic 6.5 hour live stream.
I did actually. I was on it for a portion of it.
That's right. You were on it for a little bit.
Yeah, and it was going.
People kept on coming and going, and like I said, it was the live hangout, what I've been doing lately, as the wrap up to each meetup.
Yeah.
Rather than just doing a little stiff, what I got at the yard sales of that meetup, video, which I had done the first two of them. When we came back from Nashville, we started with this live hangout. I figured I like the live format. It's great. It's easy too, because there's no editing. It runs and that's it. You publish it and you're goodbye, good luck, and that's it. So yeah. We did this live hangout for the Nashville meetup, and Archie was on screen, and a bunch of other guys. We ended up having and girls. We ended up having 12 different people on the screen. It was a real Brady Bunch. We had like 9 people at one point, in the Brady Bunch format on the screen. It was a lot of fun, and people kept on coming and going throughout the course of the 6.5 hours. And we maintained like 20, 25 people the entire 6 hours. So as long as the people were digging it, I wasn't going anywhere. I was dead tired because it's a little unnerving to be up beyond for that long a period of time. But I was doing it.
Really long time.
Well,
yes.
I dropped off after about 5 hours. It's I gotta go to bed before I have to get up.
Yeah.
But it was a great time. I mean, I thought it was going to come to like an end about 4.5 hours in. But then next thing you know, Mike Deathpile Picker shows up. Kevin's on screen. Rob kicking and punching. Tim, over the years, they had they had finished something that they were doing. They were available. So now fresh blood, and they were all on the screen. We went another 2 hours after that. So it was a lot of fun.
Yeah, there were probably 20 people at any given time, just over the course that were on the screen. I mean, it was amazing. And I think you guys only went on for another hour, another hour and a half after I dropped off. But because I looked at the next day, I was like, oh my gosh, because at the end it was just you and Brad, and Brad was on from the very beginning. God love him.
He's at the beginning and on the end. Yeah.
Wow.
Brad, one of my favorites, Black Sheep Society, Brad, who I really connected with. Just like I keep on saying it, I'm sounding like a broken record, but you make these connections with these people, and I had we had only met Brad on videos. When we first came on board, the community, what an outpouring of support. I mean, Mary and I, when we first started establishing this channel, we're on, I think, about 10 to 12 different people's podcasts. just for all those to introduce us to their community, their people, and Brad was kind of special to me in that, you know, Chris and Brad and Leroy from Buck Mountain Barn had us on, and we got to know these people. And then, like, Brad did not make the Nashville meetup; he had other commitments, but he made it a point to come and visit with us after the meetup was over. I thought that was huge. He came over. He drove like an hour and a half from his home, and just because we're close enough that even though he wasn't at the meetup, we had a nice little meetup after the meetup. So that was really
that's
cool.
so cool.
Well, it was fun. Alex's basement meetup.
Yeah.
Yeah, that was fun.
So I'm just trying to check out this just the chat. Was Keith after Keith's still here, right? He's another hangout, right?
He's not going to bed.
He's on an 8-hour time difference, right?
I know.
I will just go ahead and shout it, just since we, the last couple of days we've been working so hard on it. The East Tennessee meetup, I know we've got a few more minutes, but I figured I'd just shout this out one more time real quick. It's going to be in Greenville, and you can get really all the information on the Resellers Locker Room podcast that they dropped today. So if you go to their video, Mike and I were actually on the video with the guys, and yeah, they'll give you all the information there. But if you go to the Resellers Locker Room podcast Facebook group, the event is in there, and the registration form and the sponsorship form. So you can find all that in there. And if you have any questions, I mean, you can hit me up or any of us up on Instagram and find it. But it's September 26th to the 28th. And a lot of the events are already posted, so it'll be a good time. I just wanted to shout that out one more time because you caught me off guard earlier. I'm like, oh, duh. It's like, we've only been working on this, but and it's free. It's free. It's free.
And let me make another pitch for a sponsorship. As I said, since I'm in charge of the sponsorship and I got the audience here, just mention that, like I said, I've been actively soliciting, corporate anchor sponsors. So anyone who would be interested, just get in touch with us, or there's a registration form right on the Resell Locker Room's Facebook page, which go to events and that. And then they're doing something that's, I think, pretty interesting. They're offering a personal sponsorship level, $20, and it's not, no one's obligated to do it, but for $20, if you want to, now the event is free and there's no obligation to be a sponsor, obviously, to come. You can come for free, or you could not come and sponsor, or come and not sponsor, whatever. But the idea of this $20 sponsorship is that what we will do is include your logo on all of the advertising material, and every time the show is mentioned, which will be probably the meetup is mentioned, which will obviously be every Reseller Locker Room podcast from now until the event, your YouTube channel or whatever you're representing will be advertised there. So it's a way to kind of show your support and get a little exposure for your YouTube channel as well.
That's cool.
So.
You're welcome, Alex. I wanted to redeem myself from earlier when I was caught off guard. Well, can Jon and Jenna, can you kind of tell us where we can find you, and when your lives are, and what you talk about and that kind of thing? Because I know Mike is. I want to make sure that we all know full and well where you are and how we can find you.
Well, our channel is Flippin Ain't Easy right here, and we also have a podcast called Profit Playbook Podcast with Bearded Picker and Josh Galt. We do that every Saturday, even though this week we're struggling to get together, so I don't know what's going to happen with that. But on my channel, I try to put out content that's relevant to reselling, whether it's eBay policy, eBay things that maybe resellers should know about, things that I encounter in my own business. And then we do talk to the community every Monday and Friday, 3 p.m. Pacific, 6 Eastern time. And we usually have a pretty good turnout on the lives. And it just think of it as like you're you're working at home and you have every like Monday and Friday you have a team meeting, right? That you can get together with like-minded resellers and talk about things that impact your business, and share your sales and share whatever you're dealing with. So it's something that we do. We look forward to. We enjoy doing it, and we're gonna keep doing it, I guess, right?
Sounds like a meetup to me.
Yeah.
Pretty much, right?
That's right, a virtual meetup.
That's right. Nothing like having some good time with family who have become, or friends who have become family.
Yep, absolutely. And speaking of one of our favorite viewers on John's channel,
That's my
right now, Rhonda.
girl.
Hi, Rhonda.
Right.
Better late than never. Glad you stopped in there. Just wanted to say hi. I guess you'll have to check out the replay,
My
Rhonda.
beautiful
Right.
friend.
Check out the replay.
I know. When did she pop in here?
You just got in.
Oh, okay.
You just got in.
Well, hello, lovey.
So, all right. So I guess that's about it. Again, thank you, Jon and Jenna, so much, not only for agreeing to come on tonight, but just for everything that you've really done for me, for the community, for all of us for so long. You really have individually and both made such an impact on my reselling life. That I just think the most of you guys, really.
Well, Ron, I mean, my
inside joke.
I don't even know if he saw that comment.
Oh, he saw
it. I saw it. I ignored it.
Okay.
The problem is, because of that remark, I can't unsee that remark. So I can't unsee the resemblance either.
I guess everyone's got to see. Let me see if I can find it.
But thank you for having us on.
Yeah, thank you for having us on.
You
are near and dear to our hearts always. You are my most favorite friend ever. We love you so much. We're so grateful to be able to have your friendship, and now married too.
Yeah, and you say, "Oh, we've done so much for you." You've done like 10 times more than that for us. So thank you for being not only a great person, but a great friend. We appreciate you.
Yeah.
Thank you very much. All right, so keep in touch. I mean, that's obvious, right? I'll be seeing you in person pretty soon.
Yes,
and, certainly on through the means of YouTube, we will definitely stay very closely in touch. And as far as next, what do we have next coming up, Mary? What's anything scheduled, or I don't know.
We don't have anything specifically scheduled, but we've got a couple of people who do lives in the works.
Yeah, I think we're going to reach out. I reached out to Ken, Mr. Bill, on his live Wednesday, saying that we're going to have him on. So that'll be coming up shortly. He's a kick. He's a great guy. Well, we don't know exactly who's going to be next, but stay tuned and you'll find out. Like I said, we'll be doing these getting to know other YouTubers who do lives series. I think it's a lot of fun. It's been going very well so far, and we got a great array of people to reach out to, and it's like almost limitless. So we can do this content. We can do this content until the next meetup comes along quite easily, and we'll stay pretty active. That was Mary's idea. All right, everyone. Again, thanks, Jon and Jenna. Thank you, Mary.
Thank you guys in the chat for coming too, and thank you, Jon and Jenna. It was so nice meeting you guys virtually.
Yes.
And we'll see you soon. Thanks, everybody, for coming.
Bye, guys.
See ya.